All right, I'm in here at the closing. We're starting to get this set up for our line bore. The first thing we want to do is remove our tracer attachment off this side and our compound off of that side, and that will give us a carrying bed just like a horizontal boring machine. And then the spindle will shoot me the boring bar, chuck, tailstock will be the boring bar itself. All right, I undid my lower screws in the tracer attachment and got 2 screws here in the top and the front here. Make sure we have okay, now it's capable of, I'm going to move over a little bit. We're going to lower this down on a piece of wood or a rubber mat down on the floor, out of the way. All right, now we have a nice clean deck here. We hold down here and here, that's T-nut slots in the table. 1 slot in front of the cross slide and 2 here on the rear. Okay, we got our casting here, and we'll move our jib on over towards the chuck. Okay, we got to come down a little bit. All right, we're going to put an indicator and we're going to spin the ball here. We're going to see how close we are. And then we're going to place the carriage underneath here where it's going to be comfortable, and we're going to build a platform to support this to the carriage. Yes, we're all curious. Now I haven't made the 30 thousandths shim that's going to go between the split line yet. I need to get this up here so I can get my head wrapped around mounting this. So we know that this thing should be 30 thousandths less across the split line and 90 to the split line. But let's go ahead and see how close this actually spins in here. There's a little bit of a scallop cut right here, so I can't quite get into that. Okay, let's start out at 90. We'll set that at 0. Okay, comes up 10, 25. We're within 8 thousandths there. Comes up about 10 there as well. And then 0. All right, I feel real confident that if I get this to stay in this stationary position right here, mount it to the bed, my axis is going to be going right down the middle of this housing to create that Babbitt bore. Our base plates are going to be this 3/8 by 2.5 or so. We're going to have piece here, piece here. They're spread apart, and we're going to drill the holes in them so that part of the plate will be underneath, because we're going to catch this cradle right here, this radius, just inside these two ears, front and back. All right, so we're going to drill the holes, then we'll cut out on the plasma cam our radius pieces, and then we're going to go ahead and probably come in here and we're going to weld nuts down to the plates, and we're going to run a continuous piece of all thread down here so that we're sandwiching it down and holding the split line. We use these studs here, 7/16. I don't have much else use for them, but I kind of keep these. These actually hold our other fixtures and everything else on here. So, and they're a little bit thicker, but these are somewhat thin. I think they're going to be fine. They're not going to be in the way of anything. All right, we're basically going to be cutting out a shape like that, 11 inches long. This radius sweep right here, we figure out 7/100, 7 1/8. So we're gonna cut it at 7/100. We need to dress it or whatever. We can also lay a shim in. We can always shim underneath there. It doesn't really matter. The 3 inches or 2 inches 3/16 is our height that we established. This side here was 3/16, and that side over there we had like 2/4 something. We can always shim. So we grab the smallest dimension, and that's what we're going to go with. So we're going to go cut those out on the plasma cutter now. This was the lowest side, so it's a little tighter. And this here, we made the same as that side there. And it just fits in there nice and easy. I think we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna square it off to the plate here, 90. And then we're gonna go ahead and tack both of them up at the same time. And then we're gonna go ahead and release our center and our chuck. And we're gonna take a look at where we are right there before we go on for mounting our stud nuts down on the bottom piece there. Okay, we got our blanket set up. We got our first piece here squared on this side. Once we square it on this side, then I'll come over there, bring that side out where it needs to go and square it. We're just putting a bead at the edge or end of the angle here, or the upright. Okay, now we'll come over here and we'll do this side here. All right, we know that we can support this, locate it down in here real quick. And now we'll be able to set up a bar through here, prove that this is here, meaning in line with the axis and the bar. We're gonna grab our nuts and our all thread, and we're gonna set that up, and then we're gonna put the shim in the split line here, and then we're ready to start boring. All right, I'm going to weld on the inside of the nuts now that I've tacked the outside. And then we're just going to put a couple little beads on those pieces there. And we're ready to prep our halves. Put the lower one in there, put the shims, the upper one, and then get the bar in here and see where we're at running. We'll be able to adjust, tighten down. We can shim in the cradle, or we can let it sit hard if it's close enough. It should be close enough for us to bore through and get our true bores the way it sits. All right. Okay, we dug out our boring bar. If other people have seen this bar before, I've done a lot of large struts and a couple other things with this bar. Been standing up in the corner for a while. All right. I'm going to see if I can just push it over a little bit. It's not that far off. All right, here's our bit. We're out past this face right here. Basically, we want to know that this can travel that way past the cut so that we know we are going to be making the whole pass. Now, we can choke this up as far as we want. The reason why we chose to do this rather than try to swing it on the forejaw, reach in with a giant boring bar and take that 14 inches of cut is because we want the bore to be one size. This lathe is real old, and I know that I will cut a couple thousandths larger in that distance up here close to the top in a continuous cut. It's all part of being a jobber and a skilled machinist, is to be able to compensate for wear on older machines or any other aspect of machining. You've got to adapt. You've got to be able to handle it, because what you want at the end is a true bore. Okay, we're going to be happy with this. We got to come up with our shims for the split line, button down our cap, decide on our bar length here that we want, have it all set up, and then we're going to sweep this part with our bar and check and see if we need to make any adjustments. We can slide it this way on the main base, and we can jack it up and down with shimming or locking our studs. We've double nutted the bottom. We have a lift, and we'll be tightening down the top stud as well. We're leaving them long because these are part of our prop pullers, and this is a nice piece of B16 5/8 all thread. So we're leaving them just like this. It's not going to hurt anything. Just a little bit longer to spin this nut down, that's all. All right, our 30-second shims. Our top half. Just checking the feel of the gaskets. These are heavy hex nuts, so they're a little bit larger than that wrench. I drew my split line down, locked the lower nuts, brought these nuts up and locked that in place. So we are hard on here. I've measured 4 points, both ends, and I can't see a difference in the run out or this diameter right here, which is going to be close enough to consider this, because we have a pivot and this thing self-aligns right here. All right, and then from there the housing and everything else gets shimmed to correspond with the shaft's alignment. So our Babbitt bore is ready to go ahead and have it trued and sized for the turned shaft. So we have two different sizes we got to turn to, because the red one gets one size and then the gray one will get another size. All right, so now I'm gonna hunt up a tool bit, and I'm gonna start at this end and feed the carriage this way and cut that way. Actually, the cutter just stays still, but the carriage moves like a horizontal boring machine. Okay, we're set up here, and I just eyeballed it to the edge as close as possible. We know we have some material that's got to come out of here. This is a high-speed tool bit, and this is held in here with a square tool bit support with an adjustment screw on the back side. And you can get these things through mscdirect.com or MSC Manhattan Supply Company. All right. So let's see how we can run there. Run sort of a feed here. Couldn't ask for much better going down the middle of that. Love it. Alright, we're going to have to clean up our chip pan and everything else before we get into much more cutting, because I do want to be able to reclaim some of the Babbitt that we're going to be removing out of these two pieces here. Okay, to measure that bore, this is one of my favorite pair of inside calipers, and I've bent them to fit in. Sometimes you got to get in on inside like this, and having a little bit of the bend coming out. As long as you have nice smooth round balls on the end of it, doesn't it doesn't really matter that how they look or where they get, as long as you can adjust them in and out. So once you do that, then it's just like reading an inside with an outside or snap gauges, and you get the palm or one location on the anvil of the micrometer, and you just get that feel on there. So I checked both sides of it, and we're looking at this is actually 4 to 5. So this is 4,692, and we're going to be, we got to look at our notes there, but we do know that we're going to be taking it out. Our mandrel we turned at 4,730 or so. So actually we're sitting pretty good because of the, after the heat and everything comes shrinking down. That bore is true. Both halves are actually poured very true to the housings, and you can't ask for much better than that there. So all the effort that I have done to create a perfect Babbitt pores, as close as I can make to a perfect Babbitt pour, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now one of my favorite things about, and it took me a while to make this bar, I mean, you know, a couple hours anyway. I did mill a nice flat here for chip clearance, but it's also a nice deck to go ahead and put the mag base on here, and then put the indicator down on here and get your next setting. So just kind of picking and choosing what indicator I wanted to use. It doesn't really matter, I guess. As long as your indicator is straight with the axis of your tool bed, you'll be able to get a good reading on how much you're actually going to be adjusting. And we just lightly loosen our two screws there. I'm going to rotate this a little bit more because it's easier to get this. Alright. And we adjust the adjustment here. We're going to take 20. I'm just looking for a nice round bore. We'll see. I got to look up what diameter I'm supposed to turn this to as well. Well, hope everything stays where it's at, because I got the light clamped in a new spot. I got you zoomed in as close as possible so that you can see that cut entering on this surface right here. And that's probably about the best view you're going to get into the bore. And you are right now about 5 feet away, and I'm giving you that shot right there. Alright, let's see if this, as long as this doesn't blur out, you should have a good view. Here's another 25 per side. We're about 730 right now. We got to go out to 890. it's kind of funny. You look at it from this side here, and it looks kind of satin color. And you look on the other side in the other bore when it comes through the other end, and you're on the gloss side of it. All right, this coming out the other side. Okay, I'm grabbing my phone. All right, I'm grabbing my phone here because you can actually see that surface finish. It actually looks a lot. See if I can get it to there you go. It's a nice gloss surface from this side here. You can almost see it reflecting in there on that upper half there. There is dusty surface on the bottom half there, but that top surface, you can really see a good gloss in there. This is real comfortable on this side here to actually measure it. Okay, we're up at 790. So we got 100,000 more to go. Total.